Hello. Welcome, everyone. This is the Clementine podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Clements. I'm going over my Week 5 NFL picks against the spread. As usual, the picks are all against the spread. There's kind of not really a winner or loser that you're picking. You're really just trying to pick them covering the spread. But in some cases, when there's a huge favorite, you're of course picking that team because you expect them to win. But when you're picking a loser, basically, that's a plus 8.5 or a plus 10, which I picked a plus 8.5 bet and a minus 10.5, and one got me and one did not. So I'll talk about those a little bit more, give you some stats on these games and a lot of their outcomes that we were fortunate enough to watch a lot of. But once again, my sorry ass Dolphins, I don't understand what is happening. I really don't. I want to talk about them right off the rip because that's just what I do, I guess. So I'm going to do that on this one. So Dolphins play the Carolina Panthers because this is the one game that I watch, whether it's Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, whenever they play. I watch this game and I meticulously watch it, and I look at everything that my team is doing. And I don't know what the hell we are doing half the time. Darren Waller has an amazing first half. You're winning this game 17-0. Actually, I'm not even going to say winning. You're leading the game 17-0. You're running spread offense, going empty. We haven't even saw that when you had Tyreek, where you could actually run that style of offense. You didn't have that out there. Now all of a sudden you have to do it to give defenses different looks. But why does it have to get to this point? That's something that I don't understand at all. And first things first, Tua is the last thing that you can blame on this because he is playing better. Matter of fact, McDaniel's calling better plays. It's just he doesn't consistently do that. That's the only issue that I have just not figured out with McDaniel. McDaniel gets in a stretch where he's just one play after another, just in rhythm, plays work. Then all of a sudden we get a play where we get blown up in the backfield. Then we run another play that just looks terrible, and we're 3rd and long. And heck, we convert 3rd and longs. Something that they talked about on TV. How well the Dolphins convert 3rd and longs. That is definitely not the identity of the Miami Dolphins right now. At all. At all. Your defense is terrible. Second string running back Rico Dowdle has over 200 yards rushing. I was so happy when Chuba Hubbard was out. I was thinking to myself, wow, we're really going to stop this Panthers team. We're going to make 5'10" Bryce Young look like a middle school quarterback. Boy, did I eat my words because we couldn't really get after Bryce Young. Matter of fact, they were down 17-0 and just decided to run the ball. Most teams get away from that. Not the Carolina Panthers. By golly. And I don't have the NFL 22 all view right now because I know if I watch it how much I'm going to cringe at what happens on the O-line and D-line. Young players are out there right now, and they're out there taking live bullets pretty much. They're in the frying pan, and sometimes they're getting burned. But you have to live with that right now. You have to understand that they're going to continue to grow, that they're going to get better. But the only way they're going to do that is if they play. So you can't just bench them. You can't do it at all. And our pass rush is terrible. That was the one thing that I thought we would be able to do is get after the quarterback, and we can't do it. And our secondary is actually playing a lot better than anticipated. I thought that would be our issue. We can't get after the quarterback. Secondary is an issue, which, hey, playing the Chargers coming up, that could be a big issue. We'll find out. And, I mean, I would like to think McDaniel is part of the problem. You got to figure out a way to make chicken salad out of chicken shit sometimes. And I don't know if McDaniel's capable of doing that with the players that he has. That's the only thing that's scaring me. Because you saw it in the first half, but what happened in the second half? They didn't stop you in the first half. They did not stop what you were doing, but you did. Why did you stop what you were calling? Darren Waller was 5 for 5, 5 targets, 5 catches, 78 yards, 76 yards, and a touchdown. You got away from that. I mean, I just can't figure out what made you get away from that. Was it because you couldn't put Darren Waller out there because of his limited reps? Is it because you played him through his 25 reps or whatever it is all in the first half? I don't know. It's so frustrating though. But defense has got to do something to help the offense. So my standpoint on this is the defense has to help the offense. You put so much more stress on the offense, not because they are not the greatest at throwing the deep ball, which Tua hit on it. He threw it on time. Yeah, it was 47 yards, but hey, it's a deep ball on time. It was a little underthrown. Everybody would have liked it to see dropped right in the bucket, right over the top. But that doesn't happen. If you can get your hands on it, you can catch it. Hey, it should be a pitch and catch, regardless, okay? But there is no identity to this team. Like, you don't even look like the hotshot offense you did the first 2 years with McDaniel. You don't even replicate what you did last year because Tua was hurt. You don't have anything. I don't know if you just throwing plays together throughout the week to put them out there in a game plan. It's so frustrating. And all Dolphins fans know it. And by now, everybody wants Greer and McDaniel fired. And Greer's part of the problem, too. The personnel. You just released Cam Smith. He can't even get on the field, and he's a second-string cornerback. We need DBs, and we're cutting people. It makes people scratch their head. It really does. But, hey, I'm going to live every day of my life as a Miami Dolphins fan, and I want to continue to watch every single game. So they lose 24-27. That was a plus 1.5. I took Miami. Of course I did. And Carolina beat their ass. Moving on. So, with just those, I'm 0-2, and then we had a 9:30 a.m. Sunday game. This one was in London. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cleveland Browns. Carson Wentz show at its best once again. I picked Cleveland because of the Carson Wentz show last week to cover this plus 3.5. They did not, because Carson Wentz decided to be a NFL quarterback and make throws that he has not been making in recent years. And he drove them right down the field, and he scored against this Browns defense. And I have to admit, Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good. The 5'11", three-quarter guy that I thought was closer to 5'10", which he's not, so shame on me. He looked good. A lot of his successful passes, though, they were to the outside, but hey, that was all right. He threw a touchdown over the middle that I don't understand how he saw where he was throwing that ball, but he knew where it needed to be. He threw a good ball to David Njoku for a touchdown. I thought that was probably one of the best throws that he had in that game, and he missed one. He missed a big one on third down late in the fourth quarter with about 3.5 minutes left. If he hits that throw, Browns got this game in the bag. 17-14, 3:20 or so, I believe it was left in there. You don't get that throw. You miss it terribly. Don't even give the receiver a chance. And what do you know? Minnesota Vikings get the ball, just over 3 minutes left. And Justin Jefferson is probably, in my opinion, the best receiver in the NFL. Everybody loves Jamar Chase. I understand that. But Justin Jefferson has had way more quarterbacks throwing to him than Jamar Chase has, and he has been productive regardless of who's been back there throwing. And you can say it's force feeding because there's nobody else. The other people got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd at the time. That doesn't matter, okay? Justin Jefferson is that dude. Minnesota covers that 21-17. Thought it was a good outing. And then the Browns trade Joe Flacco. Super shocked on that. But I do understand that Joe does want to play. He's probably telling management, personnel, I'm 40 years old, basically. I think he's 40. I don't know exactly his age, but I'm 40 years old, and I'm not going to sit here with no potential to have a future here. I just want to play now. And the Bengals are in a situation where they need somebody to play now because Jake Browning has been absolutely ass. I just don't understand what happened with Jake Browning. He has completely regressed. Completely. Nothing about him shows you the guy that replaced Joe Burrow 2 years ago and why you kept him as a backup. I think you even signed him to a little contract extension to keep him as the backup. But now you're looking for Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco cannot move at all. That's another thing, is that Dylan Gabriel's been able to move around in the pocket. Yeah, he still took some sacks, but he was able to move around. Joe Flacco is statue Joe Flacco. He wears ankle weights. He's probably even got a couple 5-pound plates in his pocket. He loves to stand back there, and he doesn't move. He's 6'5", 6'6", and he can see over everything pretty much. Dylan Gabriel is going to have the opportunity to be the starter. I think Shador is going to probably make some noise back there. I don't know how much, though. I mean, just because of the fact Dylan Gabriel was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Shador Sanders is a name that people are afraid to draft, and he probably should have been drafted before Dylan Gabriel. I just said it. I mean, he's not as good as Cam Ward, that's for sure. But he does understand that he is a attention attractor, and he does his best to kind of deflect that, honestly. I was surprised. I thought he would maybe say some things off the head that probably shouldn't have been said, but he doesn't do that. He's handled himself very professionally. So I like Shador. Watched him a lot in Colorado. Love to see him get a chance. Moving on to the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Another one of these games that Cooper Rush playing. You still had Baltimore's minus 3.5. Well, actually, hang on. I have to say, the spread was wrong on this sheet last week. I corrected it because ESPN, it was completely opposite. I don't understand why. But looking at this game with Baltimore's minus 3.5 favorite in Baltimore, I mean, that's why they got that ultimately, because you weren't sure about C.J. Stroud. And Cooper Rush has been a good proven backup. Ultimately, he has. You can't complain about what he's done for Dallas. As a matter of fact, people probably preferred him over Dak. It's so weird. Don't understand that one either. But needless to say, Houston goes in there and they just punch the Ravens right in the mouth. Just no idea what is happening to Baltimore. They do have a bunch of injuries, but Harbaugh just does not have this team fighting at all. This defense is like leaking like a sieve. Secondary's getting torched. I mean, C.J. Stroud threw 4 touchdowns in this game. C.J. Stroud has been in a 2-year slump almost, and he has reconciled himself, it feels like. They really just take that game. Really nothing to say. You would imagine that Derrick Henry would be the workhorse of this team and that they would really just rely on the run, but they didn't do that. They got down big, and you can't win a game if you're going to get down big. And if you just continue to run the ball when you're down, people are going to think you're giving up, unfortunately. I picked Houston plus 3.5 on that. Went ahead and covered that. Lamar Jackson might be back this coming week, so next time I do the week 6 picks, you might see a different call for the Ravens, just depending on who's at the quarterback position. But hamstring's no joke. It's going to hamper Lamar, and if that is the case, you don't know how effective he's going to be if he does come back this coming week. I already did the Dolphins. I did those first. Next, we had the Las Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts, and oh my gosh, Indianapolis Colts are a bunch of dogs. They are a really good team. They have done this now for 5 consecutive weeks. The game they lost, they should have won against the Rams. But they have done the unthinkable. Did not think putting Daniel Jones back there was going to change this, but holy cow. Shane Steichen has gotten this Indianapolis Colts football team to run on all cylinders right now. Everything is firing. Defense is all over the place. I mean, you did just lose your kicker to torn ACL, MCL. But, wow. I mean, just unbelievable what they've done. They just completely dismantled the Las Vegas Raiders. Pete Carroll's got a terrible team that he's having to deal with now. You know, I thought that he was just going to kind of change the culture, come in there, really make an impact instantly, but that is not the case. He's really got a shithole of a team, unfortunately. I mean, he's got some good pieces, but Geno Smith is just forcing throws left and right. He leads the league in interceptions, and if I'm not mistaken, I saw a stat where he's anticipated to have like 30 interceptions in a season. He's going to be a Jameis Winston this year if he keeps it up. We're going to move on to wow, my voice just cracked. We're going to move on to we just did Las Vegas Raiders. I picked the Colts minus 6.5. That is a pretty big spread. That's because the Colts are at home and they are a very good team, so they did get a touchdown favorite in this, and I took them, and they pretty much did what I thought. I would have took them, honestly, in this one if they were a 10.5 point spread. Moving on to the New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. And once again, any given Sunday proves itself again. The Giants, I thought with Jackson Dart, would stand a chance. I picked them plus 1.5. And that was mainly off the fact that Jackson Dart has one game of film. He's played really well. New Orleans Saints still trying to figure things out. My gosh, the turnovers that the Giants had. They pretty much handed this game to the Saints, and they capitalized. Hey, not a great team, not a good team, but they're a professional football team, and they came in and they won. I don't know what to say about that. A lot of turnovers that didn't really justify how well they were playing in this game, but it did determine the outcome for the Saints. The Saints didn't really, they had a few big plays, but nothing about the Saints is really wowing you. I had Alvin Kamara in fantasy, yet his stats doesn't really dictate the game either, but it's a big part of how well the offense is working. And Alvin Kamara was, he didn't utilize a lot of run game to me. And I think that's going to benefit their quarterbacks. I think they do get in holes a lot quicker than most teams do. But they've played a little bit better lately. I've saw it. We've looked at the picks, and you can tell by the scores. They played the Bills really well. I think that was their best game in a loss this year that they've had so far, to where I didn't anticipate them playing that well. So, New Orleans Saints, congratulations. You get your first win of the season. And Jackson Dart has a rookie game to remember. So does Scatterbo. He never turns the ball over, even in college. Not a big thing for him. It happened in this game. It was 4 or 5 turnovers. You just can't do that. You're not going to win games that way. Jackson Dart's already got his hands full, as is. Not really sure what he's going to have at receiver now. I know Slayton's questionable. He got a little nicked up in that game. Hopefully he'll be healthy going into their next one. He's going to be important to have. But Jackson Dart, I think he's got high hopes for sure. Dallas Cowboys minus 2.5. I take them, taking on the New York Jets. Hey, another game that the score does not tell you the outcome. This was a ass-kicking for the Cowboys. Jets got 2 touchdowns late in this game and converted a couple 2-point conversions that really just did not tell you the story of this. This was a blowout. Absolute blowout. Dallas Cowboys dismantled the Jets, and Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott is showing you why he is a top 10, top 15 quarterback. Don't really know where to characterize him because he's not won much, but Dak Prescott, statistically this year, and just watching him play, is doing a really good job protecting the ball, but he's also pushing the ball downfield, even without CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens had him a hell of a game, and he has the potential to be the number 1 guy. And without CeeDee Lamb, who's questionable now, possible to come back this week, you could really see a dynamic duo. Teams maybe not so much double team one, maybe more just one-on-one coverage. I think that's going to really open up this offense. So Dallas Cowboys get the win 37-22. Defense really starting to pick things up. I think now they've got 5 games under their belt, they're going to do better. Run game chemistry and just getting after the quarterback, it's going to be better. Justin Fields, I think they sacked him 4 or 5 times, so that was a very good defensive performance. And side note, at one time in my fantasy league, Justin Fields, I believe, had -3 points for the guy I was playing. He ended up with 19. So garbage time points, speak of it or not, they really killed me in the fantasy league this week. All right, we are flying through this. So this week we had 4 teams on a bye. I didn't mention that in the picks. Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh. 2 less games this week, so my picks were 7-7. Going to continue on. We've got Denver at Philadelphia, and if you're watching other games and you can't watch all these at the same time, you're sitting here looking at this Philadelphia-Denver game. Man, Philadelphia has got this in the bag. They are just handling Denver. Thought they had a good defense. All right, what happened to them? Well, Sean Payton and this offense and defense turned it on in the second half and just completely dominated the Eagles. I mean, just completely dominated. They were getting pressure on Bo Nix, but he was showing the mobility. his age in a good way, how he was able to avoid the pressure, but know where the defense is going to flow. And hey, he threw a ball that looked like it was going in traffic and ended up being a big touchdown. So I am super impressed with Bo Nix. He's probably one of the few quarterbacks in his draft class that isn't having that sophomore slump right now. I think Sean Payton's done a really good job keeping him on track, and he's got a hell of a defense on the other side. And the Philadelphia Eagles, hey, you've been in a lot of close games. It happened to the Bucs. You beat the Bucs because of that. You play a lot of close games. You're going to lose one. And that's honestly, that's what happened in this. Philadelphia had a chance at the end. You know, A.J. Brown was guarding Devontae Smith in the end zone, and unfortunately, I don't know how one of you think you're going to catch it when you're grabbing your own guy's hands. I don't know. And there was a questionable pass interference call that was a little ticky-tack. As in, you could have called it, you couldn't have called it. One of those, you're up in the air as an Eagles fan. Why didn't you throw the Broncos fan? Good defensive play. Both hand fighting. You're going to hear different sides of the story on this one. But Denver, just hell of a job. They're 21-17 win. I picked them plus 4.5 in this, and they win by 4, which they just can't lose by any more than 4. And I would have won that. So there that is. And next one, we have the first of the 4:05 games. You have 2 of those. Tennessee Titans at Arizona Cardinals. Everybody already knows I'm a Hurricanes fan, so Cam Ward is my guy. And Arizona Cardinals, I just don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. And they proved to me why. First of all, I've talked about this with 2 quarterbacks, Bryce Young and the other guy's Kyler Murray. He's so short. He cannot see over the middle of the field. And it's a problem. People literally can anticipate, pressure him up the middle, force him outside. Hey, we'll just get the defenders to force their receivers to the outside. It's starting to be pretty typical. You see Kyler Murray on the run a lot. When you do see his completions somewhat in the middle of field near the hash marks, it's typically because the pocket moved or he had a nice lane there or he's created that throwing lane, which that's okay. You can be successful doing that. But it's really limiting how much of the field you can throw him, because if you go to one side, they always tell you not to throw back to the other side. So Kyler Murray is really being limited to making reads on one side of the field if they get you rolling that direction. So defenders now can typically float to the ball and not have a fear of, oh man, we might break contain here. We might have a problem. But the one thing that has happened now 2 consecutive weeks, and you would have thought coaches would have preached it, referees would have told him, hang on to the ball. Don't start losing it. Don't start sticking it out. DeMarcado, whatever your name is, running back for the Cardinals, had a highlight touchdown. Now you have a blooper. You can hold the ball out like that after you cross the end zone, unfortunately. I don't know if you knew that. Something to think about, because now, people tell you, hey, it's all right, man. Why? Why would you do that? Just hold the ball, cross the end zone, celebrate, do whatever you want. It's cool. I'll be honest, I've never scored a touchdown myself. I've never ran into the end zone or caught a ball in the end zone, but I've thrown touchdowns. I've been on a team where I've been a part of reasons why touchdowns are scored. When you do that and your linemen just blocked their ass off and you had the greatest run of your life, the greatest run, where you go untouched and you're about to score and you just can't hold on to the ball. How frustrating is that? I did my job for us to score, and all you had to do was hang on to the ball. That was it. Nobody punched it out at all. It's super frustrating. It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe hold it with 2 hands if you're going to stick it out. Not one. Don't rely on the gloves so much. Don't blame the gloves. But Tennessee comes back and just steals this game. It was 21-6. 21-6. There was an interception by the Cardinals, and the guy fumbled the ball. Didn't even get touched. He just basically tossed the ball on the ground. Just said, whoop. And then everybody hits it, and it goes into the end zone. Touchdown. Cardinals found a way to lose that game, and the Titans found a way to do just enough to win. The kicker almost missed the kick. I mean, that was not a Wow, yeah, that was an easy kick. He drilled it. No, that was oh my gosh, he barely made that. 22-21. Cam Ward makes a hell of a throw to Kyle. What the hell was I saying? To Calvin Ridley down the right sideline, was oh my gosh. That was a line drive. That was like a two ball. And two ball, I think there's four of those. It's been like 15 years since I've heard this. But they have four type of balls, how you throw them, like 4, 3, 2, 1, on a line, more air. Two ball is not a straight line drive, but that's one where you're throwing it pretty hard, but you have got to put a little bit of arc, and you can see his ball. If you watch the highlight, you see the ball as it comes out of his hand, as it's coming down the field. That thing is coming down, straight down, and it drops right into the bucket. Just an impressive throw by Cam Ward. I got to witness it for 1 year at Miami. It was absolutely phenomenal to see him play, and I'm just glad he got his first one of this season. 22-21. I took them plus 8.5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Seattle. Holy shit. Sam Darnold is a machine. Him and Baker Mayfield were just throwing it down the field in this game. Both over 300. And Egbuka is just becoming a machine. And Jackson Smith and Jigba on the other side, they look like clones. They look like the same guy. It is crazy. Both elite receivers just play after play after play. And even without Bucky Irving, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers find a way to get it done. Rod White has done a really good job being in the backfield. Just taking right over. You don't even have to change how you play the game. He's a little bit better pass catcher out of the backfield, Rashad is. But you're not really changing your game at all. So, really good to see the Buccaneers. They get another win and one loss on the season. They're looking like a dominant team. And just a bad interception by Darnold. If Darnold doesn't throw an interception, I think you see this going the other way. I think it's 38-35 Seattle. Buccaneers capitalized on that big time. Hell of a game by both of those guys. Sam Darnold is just proving the New York Jets so wrong. So wrong. Just don't fail your quarterback. Build something around them that will allow them to succeed. And if they don't succeed and you are building around them, there's a problem. 49ers, for example. Look, Mac Jones came in there and has just seamlessly replaced Mac Jones. Brock Purdy. And not everybody's been able to do that. They haven't. Brock Purdy ran the offense that Jimmy Garoppolo was running, and he's doing it way better than Garoppolo did. Trey Lance could not do it. They tried to incorporate some of Trey Lance's running ability into this offense, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. And you see still Trey Lance is not starting anywhere. He's not ready yet. It's probably going to be some time before he ever gets on the field as a starter again. But it doesn't mean that he's not going to get better sitting behind people. We're going to go ahead and move right on. I took Tampa Bay plus 3.5. They get me a win. I've gotten 4 and 5 in a row on this one now. So feeling pretty good. And once again, getting the 6th one in a row. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th one. Sorry. That was 4 in a row. Going on 5. This is the first 425 game. Doing the picks. 37-24. I just want to let you know, another game that this score does not justify what happened. Jake Browning has just been absolutely terrible. I talked about it earlier with the Browns trading Joe Flacco yesterday. Today's Wednesday. You're getting Joe Flacco at this point in the season, and Joe Burrow is pretty much out until December at least. Minimal out till December. That does not mean he's going to come back and be 100%. But depending on where they're at, he may or may not play. The Detroit Lions, once again, just completely dominate Cincinnati. It was an absolutely terrible game. This was a minus 10.5 favorite, and I took the Lions. At first, I was a little nervous, and then it just completely unraveled. Completely. Detroit just starts really pouring on the points. Cincinnati scores late in the end. Jamar Chase he was handcuffed the whole game. A lot of forced passes to him, getting intercepted. And not really much to say. Cincinnati is just bad. They are a terrible team, and it's really showing now. And I don't know how Zach Taylor's not on the hot seat. How is he not on the hot seat? Makes no sense. He's been there this long. One time to the Super Bowl. AFC Championship 1 year as well. So AFC champions, losing the Super Bowl. and then I think you lose in the AFC Championship one year. And you haven't even looked close to that. It just doesn't make any sense. What is Zach Taylor not doing, or what is the general managers not doing personnel-wise? No idea. You paid your 2 best receivers and your quarterback. You've restructured your contract for your defensive end, but you're not doing anything to improve where you're at. You're just bringing back the same thing every year, hoping that, hey, this year will be better. You need to add pieces sometimes to actually get better. Washington Commanders at Los Angeles Chargers. Wow. What has happened to the Chargers? Jaden Daniels comes back after his MCL sprain, knee sprain. I believe it was his MCL, but knee sprain. I had the Chargers minus 2.5. And Justin Herbert is now acting like what I thought he was going to do. Just not playing well now. And he doesn't have an offensive line, but he's just... I don't understand. He's not the guy that was here the first three weeks. Last week and this week, he has just completely changed. And he has his receivers there. Maybe it's the offensive line, and now his running back's down. He's down 2 running backs. Najee Harris and Hampton are down. Harris for the season, Hampton for at least 4 weeks. He just went on IR. But Harbaugh is off to a hot start. Now he's on a 2-game skid. And it's early in the season, so you don't want to panic, but you're in a tough division. You're in a very tough division. And the Commanders with Jaden Daniels look like a very, very different team. No McLaurin in that game, but the defense really stepped up and just took advantage of this Chargers offensive line being weak. Dan Quinn has always been a good coach, in my opinion. He really does good with defenses. You saw his Atlanta stint not pan out as well, and once they lost that Super Bowl, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But the Commanders they're back in this race again with being the top dog in that division because Philadelphia did take a loss. And, hey, things are getting a little closer there because Dallas looks good too. So that's going to be a really tough division there. Things are really going to start heating up here in, I believe, the next couple of weeks. Probably could expect Dallas to get here on a little winning streak. Washington as well. And we'll kind of see where Philadelphia is going to fall in the mix. But Commanders put it on the Chargers 27-10. Chargers are going to have to figure things out. Really start to figure things out here. Justin Herbert has to figure out a way to make these guys better around him. New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Hey, I said this the first week of my picks. I'm saying it again. Vrabel is a good coach. It may take some time, but he's going to get this New England Patriots team better. They're going to be fundamentally coached. And Drake May looks so good right now. This defense is finally turning it up a notch. Everybody's doing their job on defense. Hey, I'll be honest. I picked the Bills minus 7.5. I just thought Josh Allen was going to be that much better and still make the Patriots look like a team that's learning. And that did not happen. New England stayed in this game. They stayed in this game. Drake May made a Josh Allen-like throw, rolling to his right, stiff-arming a defender, and throwing a great ball. It was catchable. It gets the job done. Super close to his knee being down, which, hey, thought they could have looked at that, in my opinion. But Drake May gets it done against the Buffalo Bills, and Josh Allen, dude, you were a little mad. And hey, he doesn't handle these losses very well, unfortunately. I'm a Dolphins fan. I gotta freaking deal with Josh Allen for the next 10 years, probably. I had to deal with Tom Brady for 20 freaking years. Now I got Josh Allen, Drake May, and I am not worried about Justin Fields at all. Matter of fact, Justin Fields probably won't even be the quarterback next year. But Vrabel's got this Patriots team rolling. I think the Patriots and the Bills are going to be the 2 top teams in this AFC East. And you could probably see them battling for that first place spot. Patriots now have the first win against them. If they get that second one, this could be a tiebreaker on who's going to be first place in the AFC East. Could determine some home field advantage. Patriots cost me that one, though, 23-20 win. And this one, wow. The Jacksonville Jaguars have just completely turned this defense around. Trevor Lawrence is making ridiculous throws. He made just a beautiful throw to Brian Thomas that was gutsy. It was a third down, and he just dropped it right in there. It was impressive. You could not defend that throw at all. It was such a perfect throw, it was undefendable. Kansas City, though, the 99-yard interception return that would have put you up 28-24 earlier in the game. Sorry, no. It would have been 28-17. You would have really, really added to this lead. And you didn't. You throw the pick six. They go up 24-21. Then you have to go down and score. And you leave them way too much time. Way too much time. And now they're up. Now you're up 28-24. And they just get the ball in a great spot. Because you kicked the ball out of bounds. Kick the ball out of bounds. Such a frustrating thing. You get the ball at the 40-yard line, and then, if it's a 2-point game, I'll have to sneeze here. Just bear with me. Maybe. Coming and going. We'll keep talking until I have to sneeze. It's 28-24. Jacksonville lets them score with plenty of time left in this game. But you just don't help yourself trying to get fancy with these kicks, trying to pin them in the corner. Just kick that thing out of the back of the end zone sometimes, especially late in the game, and they have to score a touchdown. What's 5 or 10 yards? Maybe in a field goal that matters, but not at this stage of the game. And Jacksonville, wow. Trevor Lawrence made a Trevor Lawrence-like play. Gets stepped on, falls down, tries to get up, but isn't even in a position to stand, has nothing in a position to allow him to get up, and falls again. And then Chris Jones looks like he gives up on the play. Just completely gives up. And this man just is able to run right to the end zone. That is insane. Just if that was college, just imagine. He'd be on the ground, down, and the clock would be just rolling. So Trevor Lawrence played a hell of a game. He really did. He has stepped up. He has proved me wrong. I've doubted him so far this year. And, hey, right now, in Trevor, I trust. I really think that Trevor Lawrence has got a good coach. And like I said, you get a good coach, build a system around you. I think you have a potential to be really, really good. So there we have it. A 7-7 this week on my Week 5 picks against the spread. I will have the Week 6 picks probably tomorrow or maybe even Saturday or Sunday. That's kind of a toss-up, just depending on what family events we have, swimming events, soccer events, whatever it may pertain, or just life in general. I will try to continue to post. If you have been watching, been liking, subscribing, I appreciate it. Even if you watch for 30 seconds, I really do appreciate it. It's all for fun. It's all my opinion too. So if you have some opinions, you have any questions, you want to just comment on here, I'll try to answer them. Heck, if you want to do fantasy questions, maybe I'll do some fantasy answers for you. If you have any of those, I do fantasy football. I have 2 leagues that I play in. It's all for fun. Just love football. So really appreciate it if you've watched this. Again, I am Tyler Clements, and my voice keeps cracking. Not sure why. Maybe just a long day. Tune in to Week 6 episode of NFL Picks Against the Spread. And let's see if I can do better than 7-7. Kind of up and down with this. It's such an odd thing. And as the days goes on Sundays, I'm just thinking of the teams I picked and the spreads. It just crosses my mind like, wow, it wasn't even close. What happened? What was I thinking? And then some are like, hey, I knew that would happen. So, hey, it's any given Sunday. And that is going to be it for me. And this is probably one of my shorter ones, maybe close to it. Now that I'm just rambling on the end, I'll go ahead and end this thing. Talk to you guys later. Next episode coming soon. Talk to you later, guys.